All right, hello, everybody. Hey guys, how's it going? Oh, all right. I'm gonna be fully transparent for the sake of the podcast later on YouTube. Yeah, no, this was totally like mucked up from the beginning. A lot of things just like, oh my god. In fact, I guess this is not really big of a deal. I'm gonna just check my settings real quick. I probably should have just changed the rescaling output. I'm gonna do an export later on YouTube, but 720, yeah, I guess that's totally fine. But why don't I just go ahead and just start with the intro. So, hey guys, how's it going? My name is Justin,
Uh,
and you're watching or listening to episode 434 of DangIT Prodcast. Welcome back, everybody. To kind of give you guys some clarity as to what happened, we were starting the podcast as usual, and then I did a mispress. It's been a while since I've done that, and considering the fact that we skipped a week because I was sick, I've been out of the group already. So that's what happened. A lot of stuff, but we're back in it. Mark, how you doing?
doing good.
Good. So, we were just talking. We typically like to just do some like conversations, just like naturally, because like once we start talking, like we just start talking, and
Pretty much.
yeah, and honestly, like I think that's just a natural thing, whether it be like our group or just like little branches of our like main core group, or just anyone in general. But God, I don't even know if we want to just jump into that topic specifically. Should we?
I mean, it's a very big topic.
I don't know. Well, I would say it's big for those who are Pokemon fans.
Your channel has done a lot of Pokemon content.
This is fair. So I guess we'll give it that. So to pretty much summarize what's going on, you guys know that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are coming out next week. Some people already have the game. That's the thing. That's funny. Austin John Plays actually like tweeted like him actually having the games on him, like a whole double pack. I was like, oh man, dude, the hustle's real.
He's probably been playing them.
It's probably been playing, but even like there's been people who've gotten their hands on the game much sooner, um, and because of I don't know exactly if it is like the English version, but essentially the Switch is like region like not region locked, so it's going to just play whatever is supported. So uh, there's just English versions out there, and because of that, there's been a lot of leaks this past week. It's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
It's
they data mined the whole damn game.
yeah, it's I think for the sake of Pokemon, it's as bad as God of War and Sonic Frontiers kind of leaking. I think God of War actually had more leaks because of the fact that people just had review copies, people were accidentally leaking it, and some people were just outright like sharing clips. I got spoiled here and there for Ragnarok and well Pokemon due to TikTok just like being how it is, continually feeding back on whatever you've watched. So that was my experience so far. But I will say I told Mark that I was like, you know what, I don't think I have any issues with leaks per se, and then that just opened up the floodgates via Mark of every single, well, not every single thing, but just like all these different leaks, like from him personally. I mean, I'm okay. I'm not blaming you because you're just excited, and like your take on it is that like we should have seen all this cool stuff beforehand, and I was also there, but now I'm kind of like on a moral like stance on it. Like, should this be okay? Because one part of me wanted them to show this kind of stuff because for me personally, I like the stuff that they didn't show versus like what they
The
were
stuff that
trying
they
to
didn't,
promote.
the stuff that they didn't show is way more like actually like compelling than the stuff that they did show.
Yeah, because they've been like kind of slowly like trickling like a bunch of like info as far as like I'm not even sure if it's a bunch of info per se now about like the gym leaders, some like Pokemon here and there, but it turns out there's a slew of other things that like I wasn't even aware of. So I mean, obviously things like the Paldean form, but like we only saw like Wooper and that was it. But there's more than just the Paldean like stuff. I'll tell you that much at the very least. So whether we want to talk about this on the podcast, I'm not entirely sure if I really want to do that.
I mean,
But I know your stance, Mark.
I mean, I'm for it. If I'm for it, but if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, at this point, What are they gonna do?
I know that. Well, I mean, I've only heard word of mouth, but like those who are actually showing the content are being like tracked down and being shut down. So there's some
Showing,
people.
not talking.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'll say like just as a point of reference, Austin John Plays actually like did some reports on like the leaks and did
They
it
just
pretty
didn't
safe.
show anything.
He didn't show anything. He was pretty safe about it in that regard.
Loophole.
So yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Now I'm like initially said I was like, I'm fine, and now but I'm like, I don't know, because
For you,
I've seen stuff like
you
the
said for
starter
you,
evolution. I've seen the
it's
starter
a
evolutions.
moral
I've
dilemma.
seen, yeah, it's a moral dilemma on my end. I've seen the starters. I have my thoughts about them. But depending on how we want to go forward with this conversation on the podcast, I probably may not even like share my thoughts about it per se. But and there's a bunch of other stuff I don't really want to like. Part of me still doesn't want to really do it. So maybe it's just best to just say it, leave it at that for now. That they're
I am curious though. Why do you not want to speak on it?
it's a moral dilemma thing, like because it's the fact that they chose not to share it for their own reason, and I just feel like it's not like right for me to just kind of like spread the information like on my own platform, because
I mean, it's already been spread.
yeah, and that's your reasoning, and I like your take is your take. It's just like it doesn't align with mine.
I'm just saying, because for me personally, I'm like, it's already all out there. Whatever you say wouldn't be something that someone else has already said.
Yeah, but it's also the same thing where it's like, if I it like at a certain time, like by next week, this whole morality thing won't even matter, because like the information will now just then be publicly available for everybody. I mean, it kind of is already, but like
It very much is
in the
already.
there's no NDAs to report, or Pokemon like company ninjas out there, but
Nintendo ninjas.
Nintendo slash Pokemon Company stuff. So, yeah, like I don't know, Mark. I'm really indecisive about it because, like, I get what you're saying, but I also know that like that's something that shouldn't have been brought up, but unfortunately just was. Having said that, Dials,
This the same man who was always reporting on them Switch Pro leaks.
this is true, but like it's different because like
How so?
Switch Pro is not really a confirmed thing. Like, there's nothing talked about. It's not like they announced it and someone's showing like footage of them like with their hands on it with the Switch Pro. That's kind of what these leaks are for Pokemon. But with like Switch Pro, it's all just like conjecture. We have absolutely like, no, this is some legitimate stuff for Pokemon. This is actual stuff. Because I could talk about like, oh, the Switch Pro can like will most likely have like 4K integrated that's maybe like up to 60 frames at the very least, and that's just all conjecture. We heard like a leak from Bloomberg about them like going for like better like processing or like a better graphics type of situation, but that's not true. Like, well, at least we don't know that's true or not. But with these leaks, we know it's true. Like, we know everything is true. Like the final evolution for like Sprigatito, like I could just like drop that and like that's not conjecture, it's the fact. But some people don't
And I
want to see
feel
that.
like
Well,
I feel about 99.9% of people want to know what the final evolutions are.
I mean, yeah, and trust me, I think they're gonna like drop it. Well, I think Pokemon Company, now knowing that like they got their stuff leaked, are now having to do whatever they can just to slightly appease everybody, but also like kind of maintain that as best they can. They kind of can at this point, but so they'll
I thought they would have
definitely
learned their
those.
lesson from Sword and Shield.
All right, so I don't. So what was the thing about Sword and Shield? Was everything just leaked like a good number
The
of days
Dex,
prior? The
yeah,
whole
the
day.
Dex was leaked like around the same time this Dex was leaked, and I'm like, that's why I say if you guys want to get ahead of this, you got to show shit sooner.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you know what, Mark? I'm willing to meet you in the middle, but like, what exactly would be the middle ground for these for these leaks?
I mean, like I said, we don't have to talk about it. I'm perfectly fine not talking about it. I'm simply just saying
Mm-hmm.
that I don't personally, just like, because we see it two different ways. I see it as everything's already out there. We're not showing any images. It's simply talking. We could simply put mild spoilers in the chat.
Um, I would say do not. I would say don't talk about specific like termed mechanics and not actual names. But we can talk about like what we think about like this form and this possible form for this insert Pokemon, and then like if we both understand what we're talking about, we can at least do that.
We talk in Morse code.
Yeah, because the podcast at the very least will be released by time like around like Sunday, so the game's coming out like on Friday. So, but we're talking about it live now, so it's like,
Luckily, I have my Joy-Cons back in time.
oh, that's good. It's good to hear that. Okay, so to preface to everybody one more time, we do know quite a bit here and there. Because of my morality, I didn't like fully look at all the stuff that Mark had dropped for me and the whole messenger
I
group.
did.
You
I
dropped.
did, dude. I spread that game's butthole wide open.
Whoa, nice.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll talk about the final evolutions. I've seen all three of them. Their middle stages and like their last stage. I'm really surprised of the approach they took for well, technically all three of them actually.
No, they were all three very surprising.
Do you think, Mark, that has changed your decision on which starter to choose?
Slightly. It's made me it's shaken my position just a little bit because mainly just because Quaxley. Well, I was really thinking Quaxley. I'm still between Fuecoco and Quaxley. It's just that Quaxley's came off and it's a bit more feminine than I usually choose. Not saying that feminine is bad, but I usually do prefer more of a strong or unisex starter.
Okay, I understand what you mean by that. Yeah, we definitely led with this idea of like the Conquaxador idea. Unfortunately,
Which would have been amazing.
a safe confirmation. It wasn't that case. I was actually really surprised by that, but I kind of dig it. I appreciate that, like how bold it is. Granted,
yeah, it's meant to represent Carnival from Brazil.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. For me personally, like no one could really align with this like as well as I could. But you know, I don't think that's ever the leaks haven't really ever changed like my conception of like who I choose. Just to tell everybody, I pretty much just go for the grass starter, and I usually pick the secondary game. Almost no matter what. The only exception is really red because I guess red's technically like the primary when we talk about like Pokemon Red or Blue, Gold or Silver, Ruby and Sapphire. I usually go with the secondary, except for red. So I played Silver, Sapphire. Well, I guess Pokemon Black's also an exception because it's black and white. But then it would be Moon and etc. But yeah, I primarily stick to that. I usually stick to the grass starter. It's nothing like I would say like that's not really the strongest like thing for me. I just choose it without really thinking about it. Like I'll just choose grass starter.
I wasn't feeling Sprigatito's final evolution personally. It's not bad. I just wasn't really feeling it.
I would say I like Fuecoco's final evolution, and I'm totally okay with grass and water. But having said that, though, I'd probably still stick with Sprigatito.
Really, I was thinking you might actually choose Fuecoco.
It is really cool, but you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, unless I really focus on like something that I really like, then I'll just kind of default.
Can I just say I really didn't expect the because for Fuecoco's final evolution, it does not look at all like what the Pokemon it is.
Yeah, it changes like quite drastically. I mean, granted,
the singer Pokemon, I was like, you do not look like a singer.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, like, out of all, there's different like evolutions, like, and they're like stark contrast to what they would look like. Like, I think, like, say, Chespin the Chestnut is kind of like I wouldn't expect that otherwise. And this is kind of the same thing.
I'm still in the camp of I like Chespin and Chestnut, and not many people do for some reason.
I'm totally okay with that form. I'm totally okay with it, but it's nothing.
He's a knight.
Yeah, my favorites still kind of remain in like Gen 1 and Gen 3 final evolutions. I like the design
Gen
a lot more.
1, Gen 3, Gen 1, Gen 3, and Gen 4, I still say are flawless.
Yeah, they're really good.
Like, they are universal. All three of the starters in those three generations are universally good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not a miss. There's not a miss in any of those three generations.
Mm-hmm.
Gen 7 was so close, but I did not like the direction they took Popolio in.
I kind of understand that.
Yeah, because they went with the Siren Mermaid, and I get it, but at the same time, I'm also like,
It does not appease your interest, Mark, and that's totally okay.
no, no, that's because, like I said, like I'm not against feminine Pokemon at all.
You have a
Like when it comes to my
preferred,
start,
yeah.
yeah, when it comes to my starter, I usually like to start with a either like just middle of the ground or even like kind of strong looking Pokemon. Of course, they all start out cute. That's like, and I always think they all look very adorable. I'm like, oh, hey.
I'll give shout outs to Gen yeah, I guess it would be Gen 6. And that would be of course Brokey, Fennekin, and Chespin. Better appreciation when you realize that, like, yeah, it's actually a knight, a ninja, and a wizard slash mage.
Which,
Yeah, I like those design. I like them still, regardless. But
I always figured she was a witch.
yeah, just interchangeable. Something with magic.
And like, I still say, if you ask me who's the miss of Gen 6, I say it's Fennekin. Like,
No, I get that.
base form, perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Middle form, and then Delphox, I was like,
Okay, I understand that. I would say I kind of feel that way about Gen 5 Snivy.
yeah, I did not a fan of Snivy.
Like, if I go back, I'll still, like pick like Snivy, but like I get it that my thing about it is that like it's a speedy tank type of thing, but other than that, it's like all right. The design was just
Like,
yeah.
I think his first two forms are just fine. Like, I think Snivy, okay. Middle form, they're better.
Mm.
Final form, I'm like, and like I heard someone said that Tepig was like the worst starter. I was like, I don't know if I'd say that.
I think a lot of it can be fueled by you either just don't like the design and or it's a firefighting type again.
Because I really like Tepig, and
Mm-hmm.
someone said he had like the worst middle evolution. I was like, I like Pignite. I think Pignite's a good design.
I like Big Knight.
And then there's
I think the anime does it a lot for me as far as like liking Big Knight as like a Pokemon design.
yeah, and I want to like Embor. I really do want to like Embor, but there's just something about his face.
Man, that's disrespectful. He was featured on
But am I wrong?
that Pokemon card illustration for him, like growing up with the family. I felt that.
Like I can
That's
still
aside
like
from the design, but still.
I don't dislike Embor. He's fine. It's just that I feel like his face is he could be better.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Oshawott, his entire evolution was fine. Like I think Samurott was definitely the best of the three in the end.
Mm-hmm. I'll just keep it like
And
that.
then if you were to ask me who I think probably the weakest starter in my opinion, and I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me on it.
Hmm.
It's Chikorita.
Wait, did you say best or worse?
My least, and to me, who would be considered my worst in terms like I'm not a fan usually. It is Chikorita. Chikorita, I just don't feel it.
I feel like that's a very shared like idea with a lot, or shared opinion with a lot of people.
Especially because in the anime, she was a total bitch.
Yeah, like I'm totally okay with the Chikorita line. It's not my like favorite out of like the three for Gen 2. My favorite is, Totodile's like
I
evolutionary line.
love Totodile.
Because it works. It's cool, of course. And there's nothing wrong with Chikorita's like there's nothing wrong with Chikorita's evolutionary line. It's just for me personally, it's kind of a mixture of both like it's primarily the stats. At that time I was like more hypo aggressive like with my my team. so I'd rather have offense. And Meganium is like it's primarily defense and support.
I'm surprised you didn't go Typhlosion. I feel like everyone who's attack went Typhlosion.
Right. So, but as I said before, like I just default. Like even if I don't like the design, I'll still go kind of with the grass starter, just for that coverage at the very least.
Is this just your code now?
I mean, I'm surprised you question it now, because
I'm just saying, is this just your code in terms of grass always?
Possibly. Like I just pick
there has
grass.
To be one game where you had. There has to be one game where you had to pick grass.
I've talked about it before. When I first got Pearl, I decided to go with Piplup because it was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Obviously, everyone saw Piplup and they fell in love with him.
But then, like when I played through Platinum, I was like, oh, no, let's default to Turtwig. I mean, to be fair, like all three are good in that one specifically.
Oh, yeah. Infernape's super solid.
Also, Infernape is also, if anything, like really good, just in the sense that it is like 1 out of 3 or 2 available like fire types to reutilize.
And he's Sun Wukong.
And he's also the fighting type. There is an actual good coverage. But yeah, also the Sun Wukong. But yeah.
And I know a lot of people say Gen 1 Charizard number 1. I was like, Charizard's great, but I still team Blastoise.
That's fair. That's totally understandable. But yeah, aside from like that instance in Diamond, I usually pick grass. It's just
for me, it's not type dependent. It's more just which I jive with more, like which I like the design of more.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just work my way around that.
I guess you could say mine is type dependent because, you know, just for that coverage, and I just simply pick it just cause. But the reasoning for having like, for me getting like the secondary game is primarily because, like, you know, when you have like an older sibling, they usually will go with that primary game and you go for the following one. So that was kind of my reasoning. I still kind of
rivalry.
Not really, just because like it's like picking Mario and then you have no choice but to pick Luigi. Nothing wrong about Luigi, by the way. I'm just putting it out there.
Would you say it was a differentiate? Would you say it was to differentiate yourself from your brother? Like, say I'm different.
No, it's just that, like, you know, the it really just started from when we got like Game Boy Colors, both of us, and we just had red, blue, yellow, gold, and well, just gold at that time.
You didn't have silver.
And even though I got like to play red, he got to play gold, and then later on we got silver, and that's kind of how it started.
I preferred Lugia over
Right. When it comes to legendaries, I'll have a favorite for sure, but then at the end of the day, I'll just be like, okay, well, I'll just default.
The legendary really does determine, and the exclusives. Legendary and the exclusives heavily determine which one I pick.
Then, you know, that's fair. I'm not rejecting that idea either.
Like when it came to like, if I had a 3DS with Sun and Moon, I 1000% would have chosen Sun because I really like Solgaleo.
And I get that. I'm not really a fan of Lunala, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, that's my card set.
You refuse to break the mold.
Essentially, yeah. It makes it easier for me because it's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like what shows up as like the final evolution, for example. I just that's just in my card now. That's in my hand.
You just accept the outcome.
I accept the outcome and I'll just make do with it. I'll figure it out.
I mean, I can be the same way, but at the same time,
if you have a choice,
these things that I know, because this is the thing, I know I can control these things.
Right. You know you can control these things, but yeah, for me,
that's what makes me be like, okay, I want to shape this.
For me, it's tradition / like code for me to follow through with these specific decisions. But I also understand that no one's like that, or at least not everyone's like that, and they get to choose whatever they want, and that's totally fine. Also, maybe I should have added that to the title for this live stream. I could do that right now. As far as talk about Pokemon leaks here and there, there's a bunch of other stuff there too we could still kind of cover without really outright talking about the leaks. Let me just go ahead and add that to the title.
Ash did what?
Ash won what? I'm pretty sure this is not. Yeah, this is something that's okay to really talk about because like it was posted publicly too. But Ash won the pretty much the Masters Cup / tournament, which means
he became the very best.
He legitimately became the very best until further written on the storyline. Because what they talk about, and this is also something we could talk about still, when we talk about Scarlet and Violet, they talk about that one person, that one lady, and apparently she's the champion of champions. So it's like they just written her
champion of champions.
Yeah, she's the champion's champion. So it's like, oh, so they could also add that in there too.
Just gonna absolutely cut Ash of his victory immediately.
Essentially. But aside from that, like, until they write in a new season, they could really just leave it off like that, which I'm pretty sure they will add another thing to it. It'll be interesting about Ash's approach, though. Now that, like, he's now have, like, 2, like, champion, like, cups / tournament / leagues, like, under his belt now. He's now a completely different person. He's much more fulfilled as a trainer. And I'm just kind of curious if they'll carry him over to the next one, or they might even like focus on new protagonists, and Ash will just be like kind of like Lance and any other champion, like a cameo here and there.
I doubt that part.
I kind of doubt it too. Now that I just said that, that sounds like, wait, hold on, that sounds like too smart of a bit of writing. It's a little too smart. No, we gotta reset this boy.
No, that makes too much sense.
It makes sense though.
The thing about it is Ash is the poster child for the anime.
It's just, yeah.
They're too far in deep to make a new one.
Since 1990 something. Yeah, they can't really turn the back on it. But you know, right now I know that they're focusing on like GOW side of Journeys right now. Since like I guess they're pretty much nearing the end of Journeys in general, and they just kind of wrapped on Ash's side of things. We might get an epilogue of what he wants to do, but we'll probably just shift over to GOW, because that was a whole thing about Journeys, was that it was a dual protagonist story. So I don't know, we'll see. I will say though that the fight with Ash and Leon was really well done. I talked about it like last stream yesterday as well, but you know, Ash he turns his cap around and we're like, ah, shit, it's right.
Oh, it's on.
And then Ash's Pikachu gets like the craziest Zenkai boost you'll ever see. It was featured by like a bunch of flashbacks of every single Pokemon that Ash is remotely close to. Featuring like Butterfree, Pidgeot, Larvitar, who's not even Ash's Pokemon. Then it
talks by association.
Yeah, by association. Also, Ash is buff as fuck carrying that Larvitar. We know this. And also every single Pokemon, like what shocked me was seeing Ambipom again, because and like where Ambipom was presented, because Ash caught Apom in Battle Frontier, so she was actually included with that team during that time, and not the Sinnoh region where like she carries over as far as like the team for Ash. But then like later on she trades Ash trades Apom for Don's Buizel, because they both had affiliations or closeness towards like the other's like career. And then later on, when Ambipom like became Ambipom, they had like this whole ping pong like episode, and it turns out that this is what Ambipom's calling was for. And so Don decided to let Ambipom like continue to train under that, and so Apom is now just like out of the picture, but she was still included into like this cutscene, which was very moving. I was in tears, bro. I was like, whoa, this is so emotional. And then Pikachu goes Super Saiyan. I was like, whoa. Yeah, it was really cool. So I'm just glad, especially since it was Pikachu. Especially since like there have been like some focuses on other Pokemon, like on Ash's team, like Ash's Greninja, even Ash's Lucario, like in this season, having like a bigger spotlight. But Pikachu taking the crown against Charizard, that was great. So that was just a quick side for that. I thought did you want to talk more about like anything else about the leaks without outright like revealing everything?
Nah, we're fine. We can talk about whatever you want to talk
about. Okay. That's all personally, that's all I can really like drop as far as like Pokemon stuff. You did just share me something earlier. That's also really cool. There's like, I guess the TLDR is that there's a lot of cool stuff that they still haven't shown for like Scarlet and Violet. And granted, yeah, it's super cool when you could just discover that stuff on your own. But I also think it also adds to the hype. So it's kind of like up to you. And it's also depending on like how you want to market the game. How do you want to like promote it? And I would say that they definitely promoted it in a certain way, but one that does not really align with me personally as one who's been with Pokemon for a while. But anyone who's new, might already just see it as appealing. So I don't know. I feel like maybe like if it appealed to like a lot of older, if it appealed to a lot of older Pokemon fans and just showed a lot of like changes for like the older generation, then maybe it won't click with other people. So that's why they focus on some new stuff here and there. But at the same time, they still haven't really even shown a lot of Pokemon. So
gotcha.
So I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up of like how they should have done it. I know that I would have personally shown a lot more of like what we've seen in the leaks, but you know, that's my personal take on that.
Gotcha.
I will say, I guess more. Yeah, I'll just kind of like burn through all the Pokemon stuff since we're already on this topic. I got really hyped for like Ash's victory. That in light of like the release of like Silver Tempest's like booster pack stuff, I got this box, and I opened it on stream yesterday. We got some cool polls, just well, really two of them. But God, this has put me in a situation where I don't know if I want to like keep it going. Personally, I think I might, like on a personal level, not even like content like focus. I think I would just kind of go forward with that. What I would do for content is a My Hero thing. You showed me like a link to like the trading cards for My Hero, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And I was like, okay, well, how would I get those? I don't really feel like putting money for it to be delivered. I'd rather see if I could find it myself. There is a place nearby that I could possibly check out and see if they even have any stocks for it. And it would just kind of be one of those one-off like videos, because I don't know if the My Hero like trading card game is like that big. Do you know?
I mean, it said something about nationals, so I imagine they must have a competition for it.
Yeah, that's true. You did say that. So I don't know. We'll see like how that is. Essentially my plan is that I just finished like making a video for the Pokemon one, and then I can like chain that with My Hero, and that just kind of like fulfills like the algorithm for YouTube, like on our channel side on YouTube. So I think it's an interesting thing. But I also need to like integrate more shorts with My Hero. So I have an idea with that one. Pretty much just to talk about core concepts that have been posted on older videos that we're not actually covering. Because unfortunately the algorithm's saying like, oh, everyone should check out this specific entry for the core concepts. And people just leave comments there. I appreciate that, but unfortunately that means that's a lot of content that we're not really touching up on, because we're essentially just to filter it out. We usually like take the comments of the more recent one and then apply that to the next video. So I think it's a good idea possibly just to use the shorts integration for that specific condition. So that's a little quick insight of what's going on the channel there. Just to tie it up with Pokemon. But yeah, I will say though, I really do like the collector's box, just to kind of keep everything together. I do need to find the old X and Y like booster packs that Dave and I opened, but I don't remember where I placed those. They're somewhere in this room. That'd be nice to kind of bring that out too. I think that's pretty much. Oh yeah, actually, also another thing about Pokemon was the fact that Splatfest is happening, and that's the one with the which starter will you pick, grass, fire, or water? So I did that yesterday as a stream, and I'll see if I could try to consistently do that, whether it be on or off stream, this whole weekend. I know that I have like this, it was like a redeemed type of thing, like a keychain set for Splatoon that has like those like types listed out, and I'm waiting to get that dropped off, but looks like that's gonna show up on Monday. I'll show it then, but you know, that's unfortunate. But that's also another big thing on Pokemon that's happening. Good timing on it too. So next week it's gonna be like pretty big. I'll be in the trenches with Pokemon, even though a lot of people already are. I think I have an idea, because I want to like obviously start traditionally, but I also want to kind of figure out, like, without really looking at any references, how would you figure out how to do a Nuzlocke for Scarlet and Violet? Obviously, I don't think I can really participate in it like fully, but I'll just take some notes here and there as I play along with the game, and I'll see if I can make that into like a separate video or whatever. But yeah, no. I also got that idea because I know that like Phil wants to do something with the Pokemon games as well, in the Nuzlocke format. So that's interesting. I'm really curious how he's gonna do that, and also the fact is that like Legends Arceus is also one of those games too. Maybe not for him, but I have always also wondered about this. What was it, the Nuzlocke run for that as well? But yeah, okay. I think that is everything regarding Pokemon. I do want to like touch up on some of the topics that was actually originally in the title of this stream, and that was about Sonic Frontiers and God of War. But yeah, first things first though, to kind of chain into that, I could talk about some of the pickups here that I got. So Mark, I know exactly what your reaction. I know what your reaction is going to be. It's about limited run. I finally got one of my my pickups. This was a pickup that I placed in February. And it's because I did a bulk purchase that it took so long. Okay. It's technically 4 games. That's why. It's these guys like right here. We have Monster Sanctuary. It's kind of like a Metroidvania / Pokemon type of adaptation for indie game. We have Blacksmith of the Sand Kingdom. It kind of plays like Fire Emblem, it looks like. I can't really fully confirm that yet, but I really do like the art style and just like the character designs so far on the cover. And we got this like dual pack for 2 games that don't really have much to do with each other except for having like a DLC crossover. It's Kogan Sword of Rewind, and then Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger X2. And that's pretty much their crossover, is the fact that like they were able to do a collaboration as DLC, and Limited Run just had them in like a bundle pack, so I decided to get that. And they just had like this cool binding thing for them together, similar to how I had the Blaster Master Zero one. But yeah, those are the pickups from Limited Run. I still got like a couple other ones coming in. The other one was with me in like July, and that was the one with Gunvolt 3. So that won't show up for a while. That's super cool. I did finish the first like Gunvolt Chronicles game just for preparation for that one, so I'm looking forward to it. I just have to finish up whatever I was currently on, which I think is don't laugh, but it's Cat Quest 2. Cat Quest is actually pretty good for a game that's definitely a mobile game, because it's essentially just an open world RPG at the end of the day, with a little bit more hack and slash action going on there. So I finished the first one, and I'm currently going through the second one. But okay, here are the actual like big titles that showed up this past week, and that was Sonic Frontiers, and God of War Ragnarok. I remember, oh my god, I can't believe this happened this past week. But I remember I didn't pre-order God of War Ragnarok initially, but I did with Sonic Frontiers at the local Best Buy. There was something going on with Best Buy where they were telling you like online that your order was ready to be picked up like the day before, and I was like, oh, well, I mean the steelbook's not ready, but I could just pick this up now. So Yeah, I bet. So I
Right.
went out. It was pouring outside. We're at that stage where we're finally getting like rain in California, right? Some some heavy rain. I swear to God, the visibility was pretty low on the freeway. I couldn't even see the line divides like on the lanes either. I was like, oh, this
First
is.
time.
I was so scared, but I'm gonna do it for the sake of Sonic Frontiers. It wasn't available for pickup. I wasted. I wasted the trip, and I was
First time
like,
I hear.
shit. All right. Well, I guess I'll just go to like I'll go to GameStop and just like pre-order the God of War thing. Um they were telling me that they were going to have a launch night at GameStop like the night before. I was thinking about it, but it was also pouring that the following night as well, so I was like, "Oh, I'll just pick it up around lunchtime, like during work the following day." So that worked. But I was able to pick up Sonic Frontiers like following afterwards. That's what sucked, was the fact that I couldn't pick it up like that day, that one like stormy night, and then following day was totally okay. I was able to do a workaround for it, but yeah, I was able to pick up like this one, and then later on, I was able to get Sonic Frontiers, the steelbook, I mean. But first impressions, to finally go into the title of the stream, to be possibly adapted later on YouTube. Uh, it's really fun. It's a lot of fun. It's not the most polished game by any means. It's definitely like their first experimentation towards like this new format for Sonic.
A little rough around the edges.
It's a little rough, but I think it still is really, really good all around, because it appeals to me as like a Breath of the Wild type of game, because it really is just that, in the sense of like it's pretty calm, a little bit of like light piano playing in the background, and the emphasis is just kind of going around interacting with all these different like little puzzle platforming stuff, and just kind of like embracing like that freedom to like run around, because in other Sonic games that's not really quite it. It's more linear over it is freedom to choose, even with diverge like, well, even branching paths considered. It's pretty much a linear type of game with Sonic as a whole. But with Frontiers, it's a little bit more. Obviously, there's a tutorial segment where like you have to go in one direction here and there. But once it opens up, it opens up. And I'm on the second island. The first island was just a joy to just kind of run around in. And I'm pretty much guessing that second island and whatever island ahead of it is the same way. I think it's really good. They focus a little bit on some RPG elements as far as like increasing like your speed, your attack and defense here and there, but otherwise you're pretty much good to do what you want. I think the soundtrack is pretty good. I'm still kind of a fan of like whenever they go into like rock themed stuff, but the techno stuff is and synths are totally fine with me too, especially in the direction that he decided to go with this one. They gave you
over here liking the rock music. This
like I won't really spoil too much of it, but like when you actually go against like your first boss battle, like it changes, it hits different. You're like, oh, let's go. It's really cool. But I will say though that that first boss was pretty like gimmicky and kind of like not like, I guess for like a better words, gamer friendly as far as like the nuance of the controls. Because the idea is that you still have to focus on like Sonic's main like mechanics, but it also feels like a different space because of like the circumstances. That's being as vague as possible about it. But I was gonna say the best track is possibly when you go fishing. It is. It's lo-fi and the vibes are immaculate. Because it's literally just big. It's like, hey Sonic, do you want to go fishing? I'll let you borrow my rod. And it's just you fishing, and it's not even hard fishing. It's literally like you cast a line in a certain spot. They nibble, and then you just have to press A at a certain time, and that's it.
voila.
I mean, like I feel like out of all the games that kind of have like a little bit more engaging fishing, it's more like Zelda and Sea of Thieves that have like a focus on like making sure you do this and that and this and that just right. But yeah, no, it totally works. Also, the fishing in the game is possibly like your means to like get all the stuff you need for powering up Sonic sooner than later. So I heard a couple of reviews before I even played it that like, you know, you might want to like at the end of the game definitely just do the fishing stuff to save you a lot of time. So there's that aspect of it. Otherwise, it's been a lot of fun. If you've gotten the newsletter beforehand, you can actually download Sonic's like soap shoes from Adventure 2.
Yay.
So that's also really cool. Yeah, still going through the game. Hoping they have this finished within the next week. Same with God of War, just, you know, so I can clear up my schedule for, you know, Pokemon. And speaking of God of War, this game's incredible so far. This game's incredible, bruh. It pretty much, I'm pretty much taking someone else's words from the internet, but essentially, God of War Ragnarok makes God of War 2018 just proof of concept. That's all it was. This is where they really like refine it, not just by the story, but also just the mechanics. It feels a little bit more weighty. It doesn't feel like you're just swinging around. Well, I mean, you kind of are just swinging around, but like your axe hits have much more of an impact. They're more weighted. Weighted. There's definitely side quests that will literally like take your entire attention away and make you wonder like, why are they not rushing towards this? Isn't there a focus on the main story objective? But yeah, you can just do whatever you want as far as the side quests whenever they're available. I'm in the second world that they have, and yeah, I'm kind of midway through it, and it's actually pretty lengthy. So the fact that this game is like 40 to 50 hours versus like the 28 recorded or reported for other people playing through the first one, that's huge. And this is actually going to be the one that kind of finishes up this whole story for like God of War 2018 onward. So it makes me wonder, you know, I haven't beaten the game yet, so I'm gonna have to wait and see what they're gonna do with possibly Atreus or whatever they do, because I don't really know the true ending of this game, despite some spoilers being there. Yeah, no, I'm definitely like wanting to just jump back into that. But yeah, been juggling a couple of these games around. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, speaking of which, because of all this time being taken up, I know that Black Panther is out this weekend. I haven't watched it yet, which I mean, I guess fair that it just came out yesterday. But I'll have to take a look at that too. Have you seen?
I gotta wait till Wednesday. To see it.
Got you. I honestly, well, actually, it's only been a day, so that's probably why. But I haven't seen any spoilers, so thank goodness about that.
I mean, only thing I've seen was one of my friends saying that it was so good she cried 3 times.
Oh my god. All right. Well, I mean, we'll see. I wonder if I because it was my birthday like last week. We didn't do a podcast last time because I was actually sick. I'm still kind of coughing here and there, but it's definitely like contained now. But yeah, that was something I wanted to do as well. Was to check out like Black Panther. So I'll definitely just take a look at it this weekend, and we could probably talk about it like next week for the podcast.
Next, I'll see it about then. Hopefully, it's not a repeat of fucking Messenger when you guys just y'all hit me up with the details on Scarlet. I mean,
yeah. Which movie was it that we?
That was for Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah. Was it really like multiverse?
Yeah, it was for Multiverse of Madness.
Did we really? I was gonna say, did we really just brush you off on that? I could have sworn it was something else. I think I'm thinking about like My Hero or something like that, some like anime movie.
No, it was Multiverse of Madness.
No, because like I remember that you wanted to hear it, our thoughts about it. And I could have sworn it was like My Hero or even like Dragon Ball or something like that. No, it's probably My Hero.
Wanting to hear your thoughts. Wanting to hear your thoughts about it was a completely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
This was just full on. I just pop into the chat and y'all were saying everything about it.
Oh, we spoiled it for you. You know what? That's true. That did happen. I'm sorry.
I mean, I still enjoy. It was still a good movie.
Yeah, it's still a good movie. It's just a matter of like when you get to know the information.
Like you could still enjoy the movie even knowing the stuff. It's just the shock value's gone.
Yeah. See, that's how I kind of feel like about like with Pokemon. It's slightly different, but also like there's some like parallels to that too, where like there's some things that like I could go about like not knowing until I play through the game, but knowing the information won't necessarily like destroy my experience about like this and that and this and that. It might like change my perception of how I approach the game as far as like, okay, I definitely need to get this mod instead of like, maybe not, like firsthand without knowing what it will turn into or something like that. Yeah, when it comes to
But there's also
movies,
just the fact of knowing the Pokemon and then knowing the story are two different things.
this is true. Granted, I'm not really digging into Pokemon for the story per se. Like, I know that there's a lot more now, but you know, when you like take it from like the whole Elite Four, Victory Road type of path, you kind of already know what you ultimately are going to try to do, and the main story stuff is just involving the legendary. But the legendary in this one is going to be interesting. In Scarlet Violet, sorry, kind of talk about that. Yeah, so I will definitely in regards to Black Panther, I will definitely be careful about like what I say. I'm not sure like who kind of like let that loose as far as Doctor Strange, but we will do our best to hold in the reins on that one until everyone's ready to talk about it.
If I remember correctly, I know that Seppi especially had a lot to say.
Seth had a lot to say, and I think it was one of those things where it's like we weren't sure like who's ready to like
But I
finish
mean,
watching.
I don't blame you guys. Y'all were just excited and talking about it, so I'm not. It's not like I'm mad or anything.
Yeah, I do feel bad
I was
though,
like, I get it.
but
I was like, me who hasn't seen it yet. Seppi's like, oh.
but yeah, shoot, I was gonna talk about something as well, kind of like on that topic. Oh, you know what? Speaking of Sephi, we a little bit of a life update here. For Phil's side, actually, he just had a stream yesterday where he played through Mario Party 1 and 2. We had like an internet problem, but otherwise, once we reconnected to Kingdom Hearts status, we were able to like play through the games. I will tell you my personal experience. I was gonna say Kingdom Hearts 1, Mario Party 1. It's some bull. It's some RNG bull, but it's so funny for it. It is so chaotic. You almost feel like you have no control whatsoever as far as like you getting to like that star. And then we played Mario Party 2 and we did like the Mystery Island like thing, to which I felt like I didn't have any progress getting a star that way. But it was still kind of fun just to see us like discover like this whole map and everything. And then we had a late night like session after that with just Mario Party Superstars. And we're looking at like how everything has improved, what carried over from the previous games, because you know Superstars is just kind of like a compilation of all the favorited mini games and maybe not so favorited mini games. Yeah, no, there was this. It's quite a jump graphically for sure. Yeah, Mario Party's a lot of fun. Now we just gotta wait about Mario Party like 3. For me personally, I want to see like Pokemon Stadium, but that's not coming out until like next year. I'm more curious about like how they want to integrate other stuff about Pokemon Stadium, like the Game Boy communications, if they're going to go forward with that. But only time will tell about that. That's speculating. But yeah, we'll see. Ooh, I think that's everything. Actually, yeah, that is everything. That I had to splurge about like this past 2 weeks.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. I feel like I may have like taken up a lot of that time. Was there anything? Was there anything you want to bring up, like as far as your updates in life this past 2 weeks? So many things happened this past 2 weeks. I was born, I died, I was reborn again.
Isekai? Uh, trying to think. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything major. I don't know if I can think of anything like super major. I could say like, yeah, I could say I've been reading manga, watching anime, and then what else? I've been playing games.
Mm-hmm.
Gunfire Reborn, a lot of fun. Doing the new Call of Duty, a lot of that's a good game. Been doing Halo got their new update with co-op and Forge.
They had co-op actually added in there. I thought
and Forge.
Cool with Forge. I thought that they weren't gonna do co-op.
No, they never said they weren't gonna do co-op. They just said they were working on it.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm trying to think. I guess that's mostly it.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Was there anything else? Nah, actually, I think for me personally, it's just been a wild roller coaster with Sonic and God of War. But then the Pokemon's been sneaking up like right behind me as of yesterday. So I was
sneaking
like,
up on you like Jason Momoa sneaks up on Henry Cavill.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. It's kind of crazy. The next week is gonna be crazy as far as like news, because I still follow Austin John's stuff, and he'll be posting like, granted, like with some like leniency and possibly some security like background stuff, but he'll obviously like post about like stuff that he's been experiencing through the game. So it's gonna be interesting to see like news about Pokemon, like further news being put out in public, even if like Pokemon Company doesn't really release that like on their own end. So I'll be keeping a close eye out for that stuff, but we'll definitely be able to talk about it like next week once the game comes out.
It'll be perfectly fine to talk about it then.
Yeah, I'll be happy to talk about like all of the cool things I've seen so far, any favorites I've seen online, least favorites I've seen online, possibly tier listed immediately.
Which ones you say are mid and which ones you say are peak?
Our peak.
Top tier.
I would say I'd probably like put them on a tier list just based on like the design by itself. I'd have to like really look at the stats otherwise. Oh, I want to see like how fast people can put up those stats later on.
All the stats are already up.
Damn. Oh my god, people are absolutely mental when it comes down to like that type of information.
I told you. Everything. They have taken that game and they have broken it down to the littlest detail.
But Pokemon would be running around in the nude.
In the nude.
Cheeks out and everything.
Cheeks out.
But yeah, all right. It's been an hour. I think we're good. Was there anything else we wanted to add for these past 2 weeks?
Not that comes to mind immediately.
Yeah, same here. I think we pretty much have covered everything that we can share right now. But alrighty. In that case, we're good to go. So we'll go ahead and call it here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in for this episode of DangIT Prodcast. It's been episode 434. My name is Justin.
All right.
And thanks for watching, everybody. See you guys next time. #bye.